Welcome to the heart of New York City, the place where the city never sleeps, Times Square. Known for its dazzling lights, towering billboards, and vibrant energy, this world-famous intersection is more than just a tourist attraction, it's the pulse of the city. Times Square sits at the crossroads of Broadway and 7th Avenue, where Midtown Manhattan meets the world. It's a place where people from all over the globe come to experience the iconic culture of New York. But it wasn't always known as Times Square. Back in the late 19th century, this area was called Longacre Square, named after London's Carriage District. It was a relatively quiet area compared to the bustling hub we know today. The turning point came in 1904, when the New York Times moved its headquarters to this very location, building a grand skyscraper that dominated the area. With the move, the square was renamed Times Square, cementing its place in history. From that moment on, Times Square became synonymous with media, news, and entertainment. As the city evolved, so did the square, transforming into a cultural epicenter that attracts millions of visitors every year. From its historic roots to its modern-day fame, Times Square continues to shine as a beacon of entertainment and excitement. It's a place that captures the essence of New York City, day and night. Broadway runs right through Times Square, home to some of the greatest theatrical productions in history. From the dazzling lights of the New Amsterdam Theater to the long-standing Majestic Theater, this area has been entertaining audiences for over a century. Each year, millions of people come to Times Square not just for the sights, but for the Broadway experience. But what really sets Times Square apart from anywhere else in the world? The iconic billboards and neon lights. From towering LED screens to animated ads, the lights of Times Square are more than just decorations, they're part of the entertainment. Major brands from around the world compete for a spot here, turning Times Square into a 24/7 advertising mecca. The cost to advertise here is as staggering as the lights themselves. Some billboards are rented for millions of dollars a year. Everywhere you look, the lights paint a colorful picture across the cityscape. It's like standing in the middle of a live movie set, with the sights and sounds constantly shifting, evolving, and drawing you in. The billboards are so iconic that they've become a part of New York's identity. They aren't just advertisements, they're works of art in their own right, making Times Square one of the brightest places on the planet, visible even from space. So, whether you're here for the Broadway shows, the billboards, or just the thrill of standing in one of the busiest places in the world, Times Square is an experience unlike any other. The Nasdaq market site. This building is the hub of the largest electronic stock exchange in the world. With its massive digital display wrapping around the corner of the building, it provides live updates from the global markets, symbolizing the hustle and energy of the world's financial capital. Now let's take a short walk to the TKTS booth, one of the most popular spots for theater lovers. Want to score last-minute tickets to a Broadway show at a discount? This is the place. Located right in the heart of Times Square, the TKTS booth is famous for offering same-day tickets to Broadway and off-Broadway shows. And don't forget to check out the red steps above the booth, a favorite place for tourists to relax and take in the view of Times Square. Just a few steps away, you'll find the statue of Father Duffy, a bronze sculpture dedicated to the chaplain of New York's famous 69th Infantry Regiment. It's a small but powerful piece of New York's history, standing tall amidst the neon lights. But perhaps the most famous tradition in Times Square happens every December 31st, the New Year's Eve ball drop. This tradition began way back in 1907. The very first ball was made of iron and wood, weighed 700 pounds, and was lit by 100 incandescent light bulbs. The idea was to signal the start of the new year in a way that captured the imagination of people everywhere. Over the years, the ball drop has evolved into one of the most watched events in the world. It's a stage, a place where artists, performers, and everyday people come together to create one of the most energetic spots on Earth. It's where the streets come alive with color, music, and movement. From breakdancers spinning on the pavement to living statues that freeze in place for hours, Times Square is a living, breathing performance. You can find talent on every corner, acrobats, magicians, and musicians turning the streets into their stage. And it's not just the dancers and musicians. You've probably seen the famous costumed characters roaming the square. From Elmo to Spider-Man, to the iconic Statue of Liberty, these characters give visitors a fun opportunity to snap a photo with a familiar face. Local painters, caricature artists, and craft vendors set up shop on the sidewalks, showcasing their talents to anyone passing by. After watching the performances, you might want to take a stroll and check out the endless shopping options Times Square has to offer. You'll find everything here, from flagship stores of major brands like H&M, Sephora, and the Disney Store, to unique spots like M&M's World, where you can indulge your sweet tooth with every color of candy imaginable. It's a shopaholic's paradise, with every store offering something special to capture that New York magic. All that shopping can work up an appetite, and luckily, Times Square has no shortage of dining options. And don't forget the legendary New York street food. Grab a classic hot dog, pretzel, or halal cart meal as you explore the square. Madame Tussauds, where you can meet the stars without having to wait for a red carpet event. Step inside, and you'll be surrounded by incredibly lifelike wax figures of celebrities, historical icons, and superheroes. Whether you're snapping a selfie with Beyoncé or standing toe-to-toe with Iron Man, Madame Tussauds is a must-visit for those who want to get up close and personal with the famous faces of the world. Right next door, you'll find Ripley's Believe It or Not, a museum of the strange, the odd, and the downright unbelievable. If you love discovering the weirdest and wildest facts about the world, this is the place for you. From shrunken heads to optical illusions, Ripley's lets you dive into the extraordinary, offering up exhibits that will make you question everything you know about reality. For those looking to explore Times Square's rich history, the Times Square Museum and Visitor Center offers a glimpse into the past. Here, you can discover the transformation of Times Square over the decades and even get a behind-the-scenes look at the famous New Year's Eve ball. It's a perfect stop for anyone who wants to dive deep into the history of this iconic landmark and see how it's become the world-famous hub it is today. But no trip to Times Square is complete without seeing it at night. As the sun sets, Times Square transforms into a vibrant wonderland, with its dazzling billboards lighting up the sky.